Thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to give you a sneak peek of the equipment that we use to make our podcast, how we go about making our podcast, and all the tips and tricks that we've learned in the couple years that we've been doing this in over 100 videos. So stay with us.
Hi, this is Tim and Joel. Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses,
a podcast about the outdoors, hunting,
and being a steward of the land.
Hey, if you like what these two dumbasses are doing, please hit the like button and subscribe today.
First of all, before we get in the episode, a little business. So if you're interested in one of these hats, as you can see, Blue really loves his. Send us an email. Tell us that you want one of these bad boys or the number that you want, your address, etc. We'll get back with you and we'll figure out how to get it to you. So we really don't have a good way of having an online presence. So until now, it's a little clunky with the email thing. But we'd love to get you these hats. We think they're great, and we know you'd enjoy them. The second thing is we're starting to get our new merchandise in. So click the link down below for our Two Dumbass store. You can get, right now we've got sweatshirts and t-shirts in there, multiple different choices and colors. So click on there, get some good merchandise, and you'll be supporting the Two Dumbass podcast. Thank you very much. Hey, thanks for joining the episode. We're going to go a little bit off our normal approach from topics on the podcast. We thought people might be interested in, how we put the podcast together, what equipment we use, et cetera, or you might be thinking about joining or making your own podcast moving forward. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity, since we've done about 100 videos plus now and a couple years into this, that we can kind of look back and share our journey with you, share the equipment that we use, and go from there. So 3 things: we're going to share the equipment that we use, we're going to give you a demo of those equipment, and then share some tips and tricks and some learnings along the way of making these podcasts. Okay, let's dig into this episode. So when we're doing a podcast, first of all, the first thing we do is we discuss the topic. Tim and I both approach the podcast a little bit differently, but also similar, where we like to write down the contents, a script, whatever level of detail you want to get into on how you want to approach the podcast. In our podcast, we like to ad lib a little bit, so we really don't want this detailed out and scripted out per se, word by word. But there are some things we want to make sure we get in each podcast and not miss. So that's where the table of contents and the rough draft that we put together ahead of time really helps us out. And then the next thing we do is we find a good setting. So you've seen us mix up the settings. This one we've used in the past, but I think only once. So this is kind of a new setting for us. But it is super quiet. When you pick your settings, you want to make sure it's super quiet, that you're not going to get interrupted, and that there's not a lot of external noise, trains going by, things like that. They're going to affect the audio. So the other watch out is when you're filming outside is just be super cautious of the wind noise on these mics, and we'll get into that when we talk about the audio. So. That's kind of the setting. The other thing on your setting is you want to make sure that you have great light. Down here I've got some great incandescent light, and then I have a lot of windows here in the background. So I'm shooting with the light in my face, which is what you want, your camera away from the light. And with that setting, you're going to have a good luck in a great podcast. So the next thing we do from a video standpoint is we try to shoot almost exclusively with at least 2 cameras, and we've done up to 4 cameras in the past. We don't have a huge investment in our cameras. They're a little older technology, 4, 5, 6 years old, Sony video cams. Mine is a 360 Sony video cam, and Tim's is a 405. They use SD cards, and we're able to pull those off and put those on the computer and then do our editing from that. So we've been really happy with it. We'd love to get into, a higher end camera, but right now it's just not in the budget from the Two Dumbass podcast standpoint. Once you got your camcorders, you're going to want at least a couple, if not 3 or 4 good tripods. So keep an eye out if you're going to be doing some podcasting to get tripods. You can't have enough good tripods. I really like the tripods that have the quick disconnect. You can leave the quick disconnect on your video camera or unit that you're going to attach to the tripod, and you don't have to screw it in and screw it off all the time. Really makes it secure and nice. For video, we haven't done this, but there's nothing to say that you can't even use your cell phone as a camera for your podcast. A lot of people do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. We just have this capability with the video cameras, and it seems to work great. The other reason is we like to do multiple cameras. Is it's super nice to get different angles, high or low, or left or right, or center, left, right, etc. You'll see in our podcast that we try to mix it up a little bit. So when you're watching the podcast, that we have some options when we're doing some editing to change the angles and change which view as an audience that you guys are seeing the podcast from.
Hey, this is Joel with Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses. Thanks for watching part 1. Stay with us. Part 2 is available, and in part 2 we're going to talk about audio and the software that we use to mesh this all together to come up with a final product. So again, thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening or watching our show. We have some exciting topics and guests coming up.
We ask that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
We look forward to hearing your suggestions for topics,
Questions and comments. This is Two Dumbasses signing off. Until next time,
be safe,
have fun, and get outdoors.